All right. Well, this is probably a video you guys were not expecting to drop on a Monday morning, but this was the originally intended weekend edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. I figure I'd just go ahead and get it out there. No harm, no foul. I mean, we are kind of like in the busiest time of the year for coin roll hunting, especially. There's a couple, I guess, coin shows that are kind of rounding out the end of the year. That's going to be notable for you guys to make a pursuit to make some extra money on the eBay platform by simply going out and scouring through just lots of coins in order to find some of these cool errors and varieties that we talk so much about here on the Pocket Change Market Report videos. So this one dated November 2nd. That was yesterday. Still going to do it. And we're still going to have a Monday market report at some point here in the next day or so. So, yeah, I'm totally sorry about all the delays. But, hey, we are in, baby. So we are going to find that these reports are going to be even more important. The main reason why is the penny apocalypse factor. I'm officially calling it that because things are going just seriously off the rails on the secondary market for a lot of sealed inventory. We're going to kind of like juxtapose some sort of, I don't know, fluid market analysis over the course of the next 60 to 90 days as we push into 2026. Of course, no really big secret. 2026 is going to be the last production year of the Lincoln Cent coin, which is going to create tidal waves of just insaneness, FOMO, fear, and everything else. Me, personally, I'm going to kind of enjoy this ride because this is unprecedented. We have gone over 230 years with some sort of 1 cent denomination in our commerce system, and this is going to be kind of like new. This is going to be new territory as we expect things to really kind of move and push toward. I hate to sound like a broken record because everybody's saying this, but our push toward a cashless society, this is going to be one of many chips to fall. So it's going to have just insane amounts of ways of just everything, domino effect in the across the market that will span many years, if not decades. So this report will be very important to kind of gauge interest of not only errors and varieties, but by and large, Lincoln Cents in general, as we push to next year. Part of that, we are going to be on Whatnot quite extensively all throughout the holiday season. Between now and I would say December 15th, we, in kind of a twist of fate, we ended up buying a very large position of earlier to kind of mid-century BU rolls of Lincoln Cents. They have been hot, hot, hot. I wish I had more of the key dates to sell, but, they're tougher key dates for a reason. There's not nearly as many out there. And, we have some more premium selections we got to show on Wednesday and Friday this week. And we also have a coin show this weekend. So there might be another show coming up on Sunday. All right. It's going to be lots of activity, lots of giveaways, lots of excitement. It's going to be explosive like it usually is. And there's no better time to get started with Whatnot than today. Go ahead and scan that QR code or use the links down below in the description box. We'll even have it pinned in the comment section of this video. Claim your $15 off your first item, courtesy of your boy Blue, and come and join in on the fun. A lot of people are doing it. We have new folks coming in virtually every week on the platform, not only through me, but by everyone else. And when I mean everyone else, some of your biggest YouTube content creators, ladies and gents, are selling on the platform officially. We have Silver Seeker, Rob Finds Treasure, Coin Crew, Couch Collectibles, and not to mention all of the other dealers that are coin dealers that are selling on the platform that are really big. Trader B being one of them, EDC Plug, and the whole gang. It's really exciting. A lot of main players A lot of big dealers selling on the platform, and it's a place that you could trust in your coin buying escapades. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. We got 20 selections here today. Okay, a coin that we have kind of like seen some movements, just kind of out in left field. Sometimes we're really not paying attention to these because, you figure the fire would be kind of dying down at this point on the 2023 Lincoln Cents with the extra V-notch variety. Please understand, these coins were made into the tens, if not hundreds of thousands. All right, a lot of these were produced. And they've become kind of a source of not only ridicule, but also just an amazing flip with big, large money potential. For those of you that are in the East Coast, especially in the New York, Pennsylvania region, where a lot of these were dropped, you guys were beneficiaries of what was probably one of the craziest, if not controversial, finds of the last 5 years. So these things over the summer dropped down to as low as like $3 to $5. No joke. These things were just left into relative obscurity over the summertime. And it's not indicative of a summer slowdown in the market, across the board. It's just this coin. They made so many of them, and folks were simply buying them and grading them through like Annex or NGC or PCGS and trying to make the big bucks there, all right? Because the raw singular coins really isn't the place to see that. Now, singular coins, are commanding more money than, say, multi-piece lots or rolls, okay? And to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at here, that little V-notch next to Victor David Brenner's main initials at the base of Lincoln's bust is going to be what you're looking for. It's that V-notch that is consistent on every single coin with the extra V variety. So I was more than shocked when this one singular coin that looks like it could barely squeeze out a mid-state 63 grade if we were going to send it off, ended up selling for $19.67 off of 11 bids. So we have seen just all of a sudden a resurgence. Again, the penny apocalypse effect very much in full display here on this one, because otherwise, why would we invest into something that wouldn't grade out? At the very minimum, these things have to be mid-state 66 these days in order for you to see any sort of return on your investment. This one right here, however, not even remotely close to hitting that grade, but still managed to pull nearly $20 on the secondary market. And this is not an outlier. There are other lots as well, singular coin lots that are touching $15 to $20 as we speak. So, again, there's really only a few things that we could attribute to why these are moving. And again, the penny apocalypse kind of effect. You guys better get used to hearing that, because I have coined that term for what we have going on in the Lincoln Cent world here in the next year or two. It's going to be crazy. And, little minor things like this are going to see some sort of movement. We're already seeing it over the course of like the last 2-3 months since the end of the summer. These things all of a sudden kind of blossoming out of nowhere. And, it just is what it is. Cool one here, by the way, $2017 bill. The first thing that me personally drew my eye was that nice low serial number. Usually anything under 4 digits is gravy. Lots of premium here. And the note had circulated. It's got folds all over the place. Great job on the seller, throwing arrows in there. They also did mention that there's a slight little misalignment in the overprint. But this is, ladies and gents, probably within tolerance, because you don't have any of the overprint kind of overlapping any of the main base print elements, with exception of the green seal, which is supposed to be over the word 1 on there. But I would say most of what really won the day for this one is that serial number. And as a result, it sold for $106.90. We don't talk about fancy serial numbers as often as we used to. Not for lack of trying, but the market has its own kind of like ecosystem in itself. There are certain types of fancy serial numbers that sell for a lot more over the others. And then, some have its level of scarcity that plays very heavily into what they eventually sell for. This one, again, it's a pretty decent note. I would say still very much in that VF25 collector grade. It's not going to scare off any collectors unless it had like a big old stain or a tear or things like that. So pretty simple. I didn't rotate the reverse on this one, but this is a 1964 Philly Roosevelt dime. It is indeed 90% silver. And yes, it does have a disc clip right at the bottom there if you're looking at the obverse of the coin with Roosevelt on there. Yeah, it's got a clip, pretty simple. And even on the silver age of coinage, whether it's Washington quarters, Roosevelt dimes, Kennedy half dollars or Franklin half dollars, clips actually are quite common. So this is going to maybe incentivize you guys to go through your scrap 90% silver, seeing as how there's a little slowdown to 90% and its market and how the stuff is being turned over compared to, like, say, pure bullion that's 999 fine or whatever. It's a good opportunity for you guys to go back in and see if maybe you missed a simple clip like this. Otherwise, turns a $3 melt value dime into what this one sold for, which was $32 in a pure buy it now setup. So, case in point, turn that $3 into $30, and that's how you do it. That's how you make the extra money to help afford things like Christmas season and all that stuff. So, there you go. One of the great varieties in the Memorial Series, the 1960 D over D, the FS502 variety, is a big one. Probably one of the strongest RPMs by appearance. This one right here looks to be a coin that's roughly VF 3035. It's a coin in a grade that's not going to set the world on fire, but it's such a powerful repunchment mark for variety collectors that these are an easy sell today. This one, by the way, and again, that kind of twist of fate fashion, sold for $65. I understand that this variety has been trending up lately and prices have been on the move, but $65 for this coin, it was a buy it now hit. So someone liked it, they popped the buy it now, added to their cart and checked out, and now they own this for $65. Good for the seller. The buyer, they might have to wait a little bit for this thing to appreciate. They may not have to wait too long. Again, the penny apocalypse effect is going to kind of take a hold on all coins across the board. Here's a quick little update. We've been talking a fair amount of like full single solid date BU boxes of Lincoln cents. But where exactly are the mixed circulated boxes selling for? Okay, these are the boxes that you would generally buy to go through to look for varieties, to pull out copper, to look for wheat cents, things like that. For a long time, these things were selling for under double face. Usually $40 to $50 is where these things have been kind of falling under. And this one particular seller had sold 231 circulated boxes, and to the tune of $95 a pop, by the way. We're seeing just a tremendous amount of movement across the board. And the once kind of like unloved, I'm not going to say unloved, people would rather just go to the bank and get these rather than, go out and pay $40 or $50. But now we're almost touching $100, ladies and gentlemen, on this. Now, granted, they're offering free shipping. So you got to take $15 off the top and then figure in eBay fees. And this person probably would profit somewhere in the $35 to $40 range. Still not too bad. These things are kind of a bear to ship. Normally when I ship things like this, I double box them. Because every time I order something like this or something similar to it, especially when it's all copper, because it's a heck of a lot heavier, the box tends to break, and it's just a mess. So, obviously there's, these things are very bulky. You're going to have to pack them right. But most importantly, the price movement on these is unprecedented. We're nearly double of what we were at a few months ago. And again, you don't need me to say it. It's all in that effect. That's really, really, really hammering the overall market right now. I'm gonna say I'm gonna throw a word of caution. I think we're gonna have kind of like peaks and valleys all throughout the next, I would say, 6 to 12 months. So I would say don't FOMO out and go out and try and find these. Or buy them on eBay. I would say more importantly, try and see if you could source them locally. I know a lot of banks are starting to kind of put the kibosh on ordering boxes, and they're just kind of working off of current stock. So just want to let you guys know. But if you hit up some of those larger banks that deal more in the merchant services kind of category of things, they're gonna have a lot more of these. So, another thing that I would recommend is, don't go crazy. Don't go in and say, oh, I want to order 10 boxes. Maybe start out with 1 or 2 and just kind of pick those up every week. We do have, 10 weeks left in this year. So it's going to give you plenty of time to kind of possibly chase that. And in addition, we're looking at this time of year, right? The holidays. People are rolling up their coin. They're taking it to the bank. So we're going to see an influx of inventory coming in over the next 6 to 8 weeks. I would certainly use that to your advantage. If not a sealed bank box or, a customer bank wrapped roll box, which would be good because there could be a lot of older stuff in there as well and a lot of copper. Copper, by the way, also shooting up as well, even though the price of copper is like just under $5 a pound. Another piece of currency, 2017 A $1 bill. Okay, bottom left serial number, string. There's a digit missing. Oh, right. Well, that's kind of crazy, right? And this is on a much newer note, right? We've all been kind of conditioned and customized to think that newer notes are, created flawlessly. And that couldn't be further from the truth, This is simply an insufficient ink error is what we have here. And that's why there's a missing digit, which is just another 0. But pretty neat one, regardless. This dollar bill sold for $45.46 with 8 bids. There you go. Pretty nice note there, too. Pretty good shape, too. Probably looks more in a kind of like the realm of XF. It does have a few like slight little folds in there, but nonetheless, a really good looking piece. We also dabble in older, obsolete coins, too. How about this 1833 cap bust dime? Check out that reverse, that huge pre-cut there. It's not a full-blown cut because you saw some design on that cut area, but it is a retained cut die break, is what they refer to. Eventually, it'd be a full-blown cut once that piece of the die falls out, but it's such a chunky piece. It's incredible. It's nice. I love this coin, all right? I'm glad to even see it sold. This one ended up selling for $128.75 with 20 bids. By the way, 1833 cap bust dime is a very common date for this type coin. And this one I would say is more kind of like a fine 15 level VF20 grade, where this one normally probably would sell for like $50-$60, and this one did just over double that because of the mint error on the reverse. Next one that we have here, I love talking about these. Civil War tokens, very much a part of U.S. numismatics. This is the Bro-Ass Pie Baker, New York City, with the infamous shattered die obverse and the clash on the reverse. It's a pairing of 2 different errors on one piece that just signifies how crappy the Civil War token production was, because these were all privately made back in the day due to just profuse hoarding of regular U.S. coinage during the Civil War. This one right here, these things just continue to impress. This one selling for $170.95. Beautiful coin there. We also have this lot of 8 assorted mint errors. Pay real close attention. I'm going to give you, first and foremost, how much this sold for, which was $177.40 with 39 bids. Very active. A lot of people were very interested in this. Probably if I had to guess, for the prospect of the flip and less about actually, collecting these. But let's check things out here. Not all is lost, because I'm kind of liking what we're seeing here. even though this one sold for a lot of money. The idea is we want to try and double our money, right? If we're going to resell these, relist them singularly on eBay. All the Lincoln cents have readable dates. That's the first real good indicator there. The Roosevelt dime has a full date, and it's a very tough one too. 1988p, off-center struck Roosevelt dime, and Roosevelt dimes these days, boy, they're just kind of like coming alive in the marketplace due to the upcoming redesign for the 250th anniversary next year. So yeah, that one's going to be a good quick little $40, $50 bill on that one. And you got the 3 nickels, one in which has a readable date of a 2000D. Okay, and then you got 2 others there. One with an actual mint mark you could read, but no date, and then the other one with no data whatsoever. This one, probably not a true 2x double up profit-wise, but this person will make a little bit of money. Or they're going to end up just really adding really cool pieces to their collection. It could go either way. It doesn't have to always be for the arbitrage opportunity here. $177.40, 39 bids. One of the most active listings over the last day or two. Quite crazy. And here's why you guys probably saw the short video. 2000 Lincoln Memorial Cent wide AM reverse. And this is actually a halfway decent looking coin. To where it ended up selling for $40.50. Usually we're more accustomed to seeing $10, $15, $20 sales on, 1998 and year 2000 wide AM reverse Lincolns. This one doing much better because it looks better. I'm going to say probably mid-state 64-ish, by grade, which is very fair and somewhat reasonable for what we have here. They said it's a gem. I don't quite agree that it is gem level, gem being 65 and higher. I see a few scratches over 1 cent on the reverse, which might hamper that a little bit. But overall, we're looking for that wide gap between the A&M and America. That's your money shot there, guys. We also have some Woodies. We actually had a number of them sell this week, and the prices, again, due to the so-called blankety blank effect, these things have been going higher. And I'm afraid to say that these are becoming less affordable, especially for attractive double-sided wood graining. So it's 1937, undoubtedly one of the more common dates of wood graining. So any of the Philadelphia 20s, 30s, some early 40s coins with wood graining, quite easy to find for those of you that like hunting through wheat cent lots. This one right here sold for $20.64 with 17 bids, which is a little bit higher on the curve. We're beginning to see that curve kind of like point upwards on here, whereas before this used to be like an $8 to $10 coin as recently as over the summer. So people are kind of like what's that good old saying in the bar, last call, when they're about ready to close up for the night, time to get in your last shots before the Lincoln cent kind of opportunity closes on its own, because everything's going to be expensive. When we look out 12 months from now, okay, you guys don't have to agree with me, but we're going to see definitely something shaking up the market 12 months from now. And here's another one that I had done a quick little video on yesterday, 1975D Jefferson nickel. This thing is roughshod all over, man. This thing had seen every bit of life, from the most extravagant to the most heartbreaking. But this one caught the eye of this seller, this collector, as it possibly could be the misplaced mint mark, high Denver mint mark variety. And it's close. However, the legit misplaced Denver mint mark 75 nickel, the mint mark is actually wedged in between the 5 and then the hair tie of the ponytail of Jefferson there. So this one is a little bit lower. I would say it's probably within tolerances of the U.S. Mint specs on this. So while it's impressive, there were a few people that did bid this one up to $86.15, which was quite bold. That's a bold move for a coin that is That is not the real legit misplacement mark high D variant. So you guys gotta be careful. All right, there's just the one, and then there's really no replacement for that. So if you're gonna pay up, make sure you're getting the good one. And this one is quite beat up for all intents and purposes. Boy, pardon my French, holy shit. Someone had the pairs of huevos to actually sell this one raw, and it paid off. It paid off pretty good, I would imagine. 1992D, Lincoln Memorial set. Of course, you know it. The close AM variety. All right. It's not like the greatest looking coin. I don't know what the black spots are on the obverse. It could be either one of two things. It could be either like some sort of like foreign substance on the coin, or part of that copper layer has been shaven off to where the zinc is exposed. And once the zinc is exposed and it becomes subject to wear and tear, it actually turns darker, which is what this one looks like. So it's far from the perfect piece. It does have some mint red all throughout the protected areas of the coin. If you need a little bit of, kind of a close-up, this one should do the trick. That is a no-doubter FS 901 Close AM, one of the supreme rarities of the modern age of coins, U.S. coinage. And it's sold raw, my goodness. So the original asking price was $2,000. A best offer was accepted. I'm going to guess probably in the $1,000 area on this one. I don't know specifically what it's sold for because the normal software that I use to find out what best offers were achieved on certain auctions isn't working right now. So some of you that maybe are using a different program can kind of identify what this one sold for, but it wasn't cheap. This is not a cheap coin. We had that one sold on Great Collections last weekend, which was like an AU 53 or something for $1,700. So that by itself, and it looks pretty similar to what this one does in grade. It's going to be kind of like that AU 53 level, pending what that black stuff is on the obverse. If it's damaged, it's damaged. But this one, yeah, this is kind of the big bold coin listing of the week. Probably by far of the last 6 months, because normally you would have to grade these just to really quell the secondary markets, quench the thirst of making sure that it's the real deal. But these pictures speak volumes. This is the real deal on the Close AM 92D. Outstanding. 1945p Jefferson nickel, the silver manganese mix coins of the World War II era were plagued with annealing issues. And because of that, a lot of laminations existed. This one is a pretty healthy size lamination on the obverse. You also have some on the reverse as well. This one is selling for $15.98. And we also have, by the way, another 1944, which is supposed to be a Silver War nickel date, and they usually have the big giant mint mark above the dome of Monticello. This one does not have it, and there's good reason. This is the infamous Henning counterfeit. All right, so it's the Henning counterfeit because it doesn't have the mint mark above the dome. Usually his kind of like calling card or signature would be that loop at the bottom of the R in pluribus. This one doesn't have it, and he didn't identify the loop as being something static across all of his counterfeiting works. But this one right here, no doubt about it, it just has that weak, crappy strike with the pebbly surfaces that you would expect of a Henning nickel. These things just getting expensive. $282.77, 17 bids. Again, there's a lot of people are asked, well, why are people paying so much money for counterfeit coins? These are kind of different in a way that they have history to them. And people just love them. I stopped collecting them because they're just too expensive, and there are other things I'd rather collect, but my goodness, these things, you used to get them for like under $100 like 10 years ago. Yeah, it's not like that anymore. The market has evolved as more people gain interest on certain kind of like crazy off-the-wall things like this one. 1968S, double clipped Lincoln Memorial Cent. So it's got 2 disc clips on there. This one ended up selling for $17.90 with 11 bids. More clips equals more money at the end of the day. Let's not forget about this one here too. These will certainly rise, especially the much nicer BU coins. 2021, it was the date on these. This is the K3 to K7 retain cud die break. These were probably one of the biggest, craziest mid-airs over the last decade. If not for the Wilma Mankiller quarter double-sided cud, this one would be the undisputed king of such a mid-air. This one right here, as you can tell, had circulated quite a bit. Selling for $118.78 with 15 bids. Considering that it is a very well circulated piece, not too bad there on that sale. 1941 Lincoln Wheat Cent, another wood grainer. We got a couple of them here to end the video on. This one's selling for $24.95, a very common date for wood graining. This is insane. Again, I cannot absolutely believe how much these things are beginning to move up, and that people are just, again, it's that last call effect. These could be lost forever, or, people are hoarding them to the point where they will never, ever hit the secondary market again. What's also cool is that you use the background of a table with crazy wood graining. If you kind of like matched up the wood graining of the coin, it's impressive how these improper alloy mixes work. There's also a 1926, again, another very common date for improper alloy mix wood grainers. This one's selling for a cool, easy $50 bill. Now I'm going to have to go back in my collection and just unload these. It's a foregone conclusion. That's where the money is. One of the areas where the money is, so might as well take advantage of that. Shoot, the market's just too good right now. And then finally, the last coin for the PCMR for this weekend, or for this past weekend, is an 1888 Morgan Dollar Hot Lips variety. This is the VAM 4. It's a top 100 variety. And some would say it's not very cherry pickable by today's standards. I beg to differ. I've cherried probably about 6 or 7 of these over the last 12 months. And it's as simple as going through scrap silver Morgan dollars, where you get paid a base amount of them. You're either going to find these very low grade, like what this one is here. You can either find them damaged or cleaned. Clean to damage are one and the same, but damaged in a sense, like this one here, have a couple of slash marks on the reverse, in the wreath there, which could be distracting. But if you find any of them, you're going to end up paying $40 for the coin because the price of silver's been jumping up. But that doubled top lip of Lady Liberty, along with that little doubled nose effect as well. These things are really cool. And it's pretty easy to see and understand why this is like one of the hottest Morgan Dollar varieties, bar none. If you're able to catch one of these proverbial lightnings in a bottle in like gem state BU condition, it's like a $10,000 coin plus. That's how crazy this one is in those higher grades. So this one right here is selling for $109.20, 12 bits. Pretty simple. This one bid up normally and organically to a really good sale. So if you don't like low ball kind of like varieties like this, just sell them. They're doing really well. And you're going to end up paying, $40 to make, 60 in profit. Not too bad there. That's going to go ahead and wrap her up for today. Information in this video is for educational use only, not financial advice. Please collect and or grade your coins responsibly as normal. Thank you guys for watching. Nice little surprise on your Monday morning, a little PCMR injection hit, so that way you guys can go out there and pound the pavement and, do it well, and, make some extra money. That's how we do it here, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Come check us out on Wednesday and Friday. My wife also has her upcoming debut show on Thrifty Consignment, selling apparel and gifts and toys and all sorts of cool stuff for the holidays. And I encourage you guys to check it out. We have her show up right now. Start bookmarking one of the great shows upcoming. It's going to be a lot of fun. But that's going to go ahead and wrap her up for today. Thank you guys again for everything. Happy holidays. We are going to do this. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great parody and storylines that are going to be built up over the next, I would say, 8 to 12 weeks, getting ready for the new year. It's going to be very exciting. Very exciting. You guys take care. Have a great day. Keep on collecting, my friends, and best of luck in your hunts.